Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we will be talking about a massive storm system moving in onto the western United States and then absolutely after besieging the west coast, it will move through the mountainous south-southwest and eventually into the northern plains as a potential blizzard. Now this obviously may seem a bit aggressive, but I will show you why I think this thing is warranted of being called a massive storm system, and I think you will agree with me. And again, not to cause panic, I'm just warning that this is a significant system, and there are obviously a lot of potential risks with this. Before we get into this, though, I do want to say, if you're new to this channel, consider checking out the other videos. Consider, watching the whole video and see if you do enjoy it. If you do, consider subscribing, consider liking the video. It really does help out a lot, folks. And otherwise, if you have any comments, concerns, leave them down below, and let's start talking about this. So, right before I get into this, I do want to say a few things about the prior winter storm that just occurred. Right, I usually like doing a bit of a brief overview or kind of a recap of what went wrong, what didn't with the previous storm prediction. Right, and the one that occurred, obviously the biggest headline is the massive amount of tornadoes and potential casualties that occurred because of it. It was a terrifying night for many folks across the South, and I couldn't live stream it. I mean, the length of how long that was occurring was just extraordinary. I don't have the technology for that, but I was monitoring it throughout the most of the night into the evening, and it was nail biting to say the least. And I wasn't even living in those areas. In terms of the snow, it overperformed on many aspects. It dropped overall a lot more snow, and across the Twin Cities, get this, the prediction was around 8 to 12. Okay, right? And some locations got over 20 inches of snow, 21, 22. So this system was a beast, an unpredictable beast. And the National Weather Service, great job, right? But they were off by 50% in terms of that snowfall. They were off by they predicted 8 to 12, and 24 happened. So it was even up to 100% in that sense, higher than they thought it would be. But again, it's not their fault. This system, no one could predict the banding that occurred. All right, I will go and start talking about this massive one, but I think it's important to kind of go over a few things with the prior storms and systems. And yeah, a lot of these areas you could still see it's delivering storms across the East Coast and whatnot. So it's still occurring, it's still delivering its potency. But we quickly have to look across the West. Look at all these watches, these warnings, and this is why I think this system has the potential to be the biggest one of the year so far. And maybe not for the Northern California, as that bomb cyclone was a bit bigger, but overall this thing will be more impactful as it goes to the south and affects more areas. Look at this. Localized accumulations exceeding not 6 inches, 6 feet. Obviously these are the mountains, right? So they are usually, they see these type of snowfalls not often, because you could still see that they're pretty aggressive with their wording here, the National Weather Service. Damage to trees, power lines, right? It's a dangerous system. Notice the Southern Sierra has been missing out in terms of the snowfall. Here it could be even higher, 3 to 4 feet in the highest elevations. So that one actually is a bit lower, but right there, yeah, look at that, 5 to 8 feet. Obviously this is probably the highest it will get, 8. There could be some localized 10 feet amount. Which just, it's hard to visualize at that point. It's like saying the number 1 million. You can't really visualize 1 million. 10 feet, I can visualize 10 inches. 10 feet, that is taller than most houses. And yeah, so there's a good and bad news. Obviously it's a ton of precip, which causes concerns. Flooding, flash flood watches kind of for where the rain occurs, the mountainous areas, where avalanches, where that snow occurs. But it's good. They need that snowpack. They're in a very bad drought, so there are quite a bit of silver linings. And look at that. This isn't limited to California, Nevada. Lots of Nevada, up to 2 feet of snow across these areas. Just not Las Vegas. They'll see mainly rain, but just west, we have 4 to 8 inches with even up to a foot across the 8,000 elevation area. Yeah, just a massive system, and it's already beginning its besieging, if you will, across the west. And you can see the Cascades are all in this, 12 to 15. I'm clicking on all of these because I want to show you all of these warnings for these are large amounts of snow. It's a long duration winter storm with multiple periods of heavy snow, right? This is definitely, I wouldn't say historic, but it might be. I mean, this system wasn't anything close to being historic until it was. So we have to kind of prepare for the worst, if you will, and hope for the best. If you, that's pretty much the best way to put it. But let's take a look at the GFS. So this is a global forecasting system, and I'm just gonna play this through really slowly and show you. Watch this, because this is the old storm, and you can see this is 6 p.m. So this is right now, 6 p.m. December 11th, and the +6 is kind of how many hours we are in the future. As I add this, look what happens across California. We see this on a radar already, right? Showing up, lots of precip occurring. That's already going on. But look what happens. That slides to the south, obviously, with all those warnings and watches. That's gonna, that makes sense for it to go to the south. And look, it comes in a big, big way. Again, it's long duration. It's already occurring tomorrow. It will be occurring most of the day across Northern California, sliding towards the south very slowly but gradually. And it really reaches the central and even southern Sierra by only Monday. But it is snowing very, very heavily. This is several inches of snow per hour, if not, even in some locations, 6-7 inches of snow per hour in the highest of the elevations. Obviously, there is going to be rain for the lower elevations, quite concerning amounts as well, up to a year's worth for some areas in just one storm. And really, what makes this thing again a bit concerning is how long this lasts. So again, look at Central Sierra, right there. It starts 6 p.m. Monday. By 6 p.m. Tuesday, it continues. It's still there, and it's going strong. That's 6 p.m. Monday. By 6 p.m. Thursday, it's Tuesday. It's still occurring, and now we're pushing into late Wednesday. And notice it starts drifting towards the south. Los Angeles, Southern California, even the mountains just north of Los Angeles, seeing snowfall. Nevada, Las Vegas picking up a lot of snow. San Diego, or not snow, but rain. Just to the north, there's a lot of snow. And look, this affects Arizona, Utah, Colorado. Though it does quickly speed up. Notice how it takes its sweet old time right through Tuesday across really just California and northern Nevada. But by the time we get into the more southwestern portion of the United States, say Arizona, that storm really quickly skedaddles, and that will be the theme of it once it moves out into the plains. So that's one phase of it, a monster. And by the way, look, there's another system moving in right afterwards, so definitely of concern. But notice, we have that, and we take a look at the total snowfall, so what may fall from this system. The amounts are absolutely ridiculous for the Sierra. They are decent for, say, Nevada, Utah. I wouldn't say as legendary, though, as just for the Sierra themselves. So, yes, a very big system. Obviously, some of these snowfall total 76 inches. There probably even will be, again, isolated amounts over 100 inches, or, equivalent to 8-9 feet, which might be even more. So, obviously, a very, very, very significant event. And since I'm already at this, look, these snowfall amounts are just through this Wednesday. If you're to go through the whole week, look at that 70-digit amount. It grows to 100 inches, 104. And by the way, the pattern in long range, it supports an active pattern, right? Look at that. We see more and more precipitation and snow getting added on to Nevada, Utah. This is really just good news for these folks as they need this precipitation. Maybe not as much as they're going to be seeing with this storm. This is just a bit too much. But yeah, they definitely, you could see this is late December and they're still dealing with a precip maker. So that's good news. But let's go back to that storm and when it's starting to move out into the plains, because that's just the first phase of it. It's a massive beast already, well deserving of its name. But look what happens here. It's very quick. But what it does do is pump a ton of moisture into and warmth across much of the eastern and central United States. So if you thought, this past period of warmth across the East Coast was warm, or, the Midwest, wherever you were affected by this past system, this one's going to be a lot stronger and a lot more warm air. Look at Wednesday. Look at some of these temperatures. I'll click on this, and again, this is December, not April, or even even November or October. Look at that, 60s all the way into Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, 70s, really all along the south into Pennsylvania, right? Ohio, we have 50s, 60s, very, very high amounts of temperature. And it doesn't last for long, but you can see that definitely, it's just far cry from what the temperatures should be at this time of the year. I mean, 60, almost 5 here in my location for December 16th. That's It's going to be an interesting day, to say the least. It's going to feel weird. Christmas decorations everywhere, and everyone's sweating. Um, Notice that this system, again, it's super fast moving. It has a lot of, a lot of moisture with it, and it would have a lot of potential if it was just a bit slower. But it zooms, and it does produce a very, very little small area of extremely heavy snow across Minnesota and the Dakotas. Again, this is still kind of all over the place. The models aren't yet agreeing on this, and but there is a trend that this thing's gonna be fast. But where it does, you can imagine those snowfall rates are powerful. There are probably several inches of snow in an hour, maybe a 6 to 10 inch event maximum because of how quick the snow is, or how fast the system is moving. But it is a beast, and it bombs out. I mean, look at that millibar, 976, another probably very large scale event of strong winds. And you can see that it does develop a cold front. It doesn't look too significant, so the severe weather threat should be minimal, but it's definitely still something to watch for at this point. And I do want to say that while this beast is occurring, look, again, we have another system moving in onto the west. I already brought that up, but yeah, that one's also going to be bringing a lot of precip, and it does form into a system across the plains. But again, at this point, this is way too far out to start kind of speculating. Look at that, though. Icy across Texas. That would not be good. Look at all that ice right there. And again, there are quite a bit of signs from the models like the GFS that show a lot of ice events. Look, there's one. You're right. There is potentially another one right there across the Virginia, kind of Carolina area that could be a bit concerning. And we see another little frenzy potentially right there. And then the GFS shows a really big storm at the end right there. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the pattern holds after this big storm, because the models are still all over the place. But yeah, this beast is definitely going to be impactful. I mean, look at that thing. It's massive. And let's just go through a few more hours and show you the total swath of snow it could drop, but across kind of the Midwest. I showed you it across the West and the Southwest, but let me show you what it could do across the Minnesota area. Again, you can see this model doesn't show a lot. It barely shows 3 to 5 inches. I do think this is quite a bit underestimated. Again, if that snow is falling very heavily as it shows, there definitely could be a swath of several inches. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, because of its quick speed, it's really just going to be a massive beast for the portions of the Southwest. There will be quite a bit of rain with this system across the warm side. Yeah, you can see right there. Those are some decent accumulations. And if you have a little bit more of that turn into snow, that could easily be a quick several inches. Look at that rain right there, though, that precip. That is actually kind of a nice thing to see. And yeah, you can see more gets added on in the future. And by the way, this is just one model run. You can see the one from noon shows even more across the California area. The one from in the morning shows very similar amounts. It's been consistent, but it changes every time. Let's go to the 12Z1 and show you just some of the changes, just to show you that the system is still, kind of in a progress of being, if you will, beat down by the models. They're still kind of trying to exactly pin it down and see what will result of this beast. And you can see they all show that massive storm across the Southwest. They quickly speed it up, and you can see this one again across similar locations, that burst of very, very, very heavy snow. They're very quick, develops a cold front, and then it's out of here. And you can see that again, the pattern continues, kind of a unknown. You can see maybe some snow across the Midwest, Northeast, maybe some brief systems towards even pretty far towards the south, maybe a nor'easter of some kind, maybe another South Carolina or Southern California system right there. Look at that, boom. Maybe just an interesting pattern. You can see this is quite a bit different from what the one I just showed you. How about the one in the morning? Probably showed something even different. Of course it did. Look at that snow across pretty much almost the kind of the south central United States, pretty far south. Okay, look at this one right here. Boom, that's snow very far to the south into Alabama, Mississippi, right? Louisiana. That is definitely interesting, and again, it's still potential, just like any of other scenarios I showed you. So yeah, I think that the pattern will turn quite a bit colder for much of the United States after this warm up from this megalodon type, megalodon of the weather community system. If you don't know that reference, megalodon was a giant shark that was in a prehistoric, not a prehistoric, but it lived around, went extinct around 10,000 years ago. It was a massive shark, and every time I kind of been accustomed to use that phrase. Every time I see something massive, I'm like, what's a megalodon? You know how they use mammoth, the word mammoth, to describe large things? Yeah, That's what I use. But yeah, tangent aside, I want to show you some other models. Let me show you the Canadian. The Canadian is a very good model that I like to look at as well. And let's see what it shows. It shows that system moving into California, the Southwest. Boom, lots of precip, lots of snow, lots of rain, even more potentially than the GFS. Again, by Tuesday, really throughout the day, it starts winding down across California. By the overnight hours into Tuesday and into Wednesday, moves into Nevada, Arizona, or more of the kind of western or eastern portions of Southwest, and then boom, it erupts right into the plains, and it does so violently. However, you can see the Canadian does bring a bit of snow just a bit further towards the south. You can see it's quite a bit of a different scenario. And again, this thing, if it goes slower just by a little bit, it could mean so much more snowfall. But look at that wind, 973 millibars. That is a massive, strong, powerful system. Again, this is this upcoming Thursday, so not even a full week out. And you can see that it does develop a bit of a cold front, but it is kind of weakened. And I guess that's definitely a good thing. You don't want another severe weather outbreak. And look what the Canadian shows. Look at it shows snow across well the Northeast, more typical rather than 70s across those areas, which there could be kind of underneath that storm because of how far north it's occurring. A lot of warm air to the south. And you can see the activity continues. It shows some sort of a system across the Northeast that we'll have to watch for. Definitely more of a colder air pattern, more typical, if you will, of a La Nina. Yeah, and so that's a Canadian. Snowfall amounts are obviously very, very high for a lot of these locations across the Southwest. Decent amounts, especially from where that system bombs out in Canada. The massive one I'm talking about. Look at that, boom. Quick swath of snow. Again, I think it's underestimating the snow that falls from the system across the Midwest, as the models seem to show snow, but then they don't really make anything of it. So again, I do think that there will be areas that pick up even, maybe even close to, 6, 7, 8 inches from this event here that the models just don't pick up on. Notice a lot of snow, and that is the trend. European model, a very good model. Let's take a look at what it does. A lot of people, when they don't feel comfortable with the GFS or Canadian, they take a look at the European because it's usually the most kind of the most reasonable, if you will. I think they're all decent at the same level. But notice there's that system already occurring. It starts occurring right into Monday, Tuesday for some locations. It starts wrapping up by late Tuesday into early Wednesday. And you can see the European is a bit slower with it. So there's a bit more snow with it. And you can see that there's a bit more of a cold front right there. That's definitely a threat for some severe weather. They're pretty far to the north. Bit of a snowy side, and it does develop some thunderstorms. Hopefully they're mainly non-severe, but again, more snow right after that for the Sierra following this system. So that is that. You can see the cold air does return. Another system does come up, some sort of a hybrid storm. We'll have to see what the model is to do with that after the iron out. And look, similar to the Canadian, the European tries developing some sort of a northeast system in the medium to kind of a long range forecast. So I can't really show you any of the NAM models, right? Not because I don't want to, I want to hide it from you. It doesn't go out far enough for, say, the Midwest in order to see the kind of the brunt of this system. Or because the system, when it moves out towards the Midwest, it will be a bit further out than 84 hours. Yeah, you can still see it stuck across the Southwest, but I could show you what it does across the Southwest, and you can see every model supports this long duration period of very, very heavy snow, and several good hours slash time periods of this. And you can see total accumulated precip in terms of water, the snowfall, just the liquid pretty much, as that includes snowfall. You can see pretty good amounts. Let me just scan over again. 5, 6, 7, 8 inches equivalent in terms of snow would be obviously very significant. And just to demonstrate that, boom, look at that, some of those amounts again, 70, 80, and Cuchero, which is kind of the more accurate, or supposedly more accurate. Yeah, definitely well over 100. The newest model run again supports a lot of the same, very high amounts of snow and very high amounts of precipitation. So yeah, that's the NAM, the RDPS high-res Canadian. Again, I'm just showing you as many models as I can to show you a good kind of view of what may come. You can see this one shows even higher amounts, kind of isolated amounts of over 10 inches of equivalent precipitation, which is again very, very significant winter weather in terms of total snowfall. Very, very high amounts. This one advertising for even more snow than the other model. And again, it's still occurring at this stage, not fully done across the southwest and west. So we'll have to wait and see what the models start doing with this, but it's definitely interesting. UK Met, United Kingdom model. It doesn't show total snowfall, but what I can do is track its system progress using the 6-hour kind of snowfall. Pretty much shows us the track of the storm. You can see snow for many periods, many days, if you will, 2 to 3 days, but many 6-hour periods. And it does, you can see, try to produce some sort of a system right there. And again, it also does introduce a bit more precip into the California area, this model. So I can show you the total accumulated snowfall. And they're right there, decent amounts to say the least. So yes, this is a very significant system. It's going to be very strong, very powerful. We'll just have to watch exactly how it unfolds. Again, probably one of the bigger ones of the season. The National Weather Service, as you saw, was very keen on declaring it a significant storm. You may be wondering what this is. This is just a long-range model. Sometimes I look at to see what kind of it shows in the 1 month outlook. And the reason I like this a bit more now, because it used to be really inaccurate, and it still is, honestly. But I looked at this about a few weeks ago, and I realized that it was advertising for an extremely wet pattern for the Southwest, and that really seemed to be kind of holding true. And now we do have several systems coming its way. So again, there's a lot of inaccuracies. For example, it showed a lot more snow for the Midwest, Northeast, and actually did happen. Right, so there's a lot of things wrong with this model, obviously, but I do want to show you, and honestly, I'm checking this out for the first time. I just want to see what this model is advertising for, and I want to see what it shows. So again, it shows that big beast, that big monster, if you will. Shows quite a bit of an active pattern that the GFS, for example, doesn't show. Right, a lot of snow potentially. Again, colder, definitely making a comeback. More precip for the west, quite a bit of it, in fact. Decent systems, to say the least. As I take this forward, yeah, I mean, a lot of activity, to say the least. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what this does. Total snow depth or snow anomaly. So this is kind of like where above average snow falls or below average. You could see some areas picking up, well, 9 inches there accordingly. The Northwest potentially getting hammered, if you will, in the long range. And let's take a look at our 768. Yeah, look at all that precip. Wow. That would be a lot, and decent amounts here as well. And again, this does go out a month, so it's rather, again, far stretched. But yeah, guys, stay safe, stay tuned. I will be making more updates about this, but again, this system is already occurring. You can see that the snow is falling heavily across many elevated areas. Boise is not a really elevated area, but it's still seeing some snow. The Bitterroots, all these mountains have a big storm coming their way. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. See ya.